The sun gently rose over Magadha's ancient plains, casting a golden hue, as early morning light softly filtered through the mists. Monks wandered quietly on winding paths, while farmers began their labor, their movements in harmony with the rhythm of the land. Birds called from mango trees, and warm air carried jasmine fragrance, painting a picture of profound serenity across the landscape. Amidst this tranquil scene, the Buddha, the awakened one, walked, his presence deepening the prevailing calm and serenity. Revered as the teacher of gods and humans, he conquered illusion, his wisdom guiding souls towards liberation. Yet, his movement through the world was utterly unlike any other great leader, embodying unique humility. Beholders noted something astonishing: the Buddha walked barefoot through dusty lanes, defying expectations of spiritual majesty. He walked
Your
with
Majesty,
quiet simplicity,
urgent tidings
like
from
a
the border.
common monk,
The Kosala
not with
armies are
kingly
amassing near
grandeur
the
or
banks of
Guru's
the Sarayu.
gravitas.
A magnificent
His steps
reception
were
for the
light,
Buddha.
his form
See to it
unassuming,
that
his
every
presence
detail
as soft
reflects
and
the
inviting
grandeur
as
of
the first
Magadha.
light of dawn. King Bimbisara of Magadha learned the Buddha and his monks arrived near Rajagaha, the capital city. Eager to honor the Buddha, the king commanded preparations for a grand reception, showcasing his kingdom's devotion. A grand procession, meticulously organized, unfolded as ceremonial drums thundered through the ancient city streets. Enormous elephants, draped in golden cloth and jewels, marched majestically, their decorated tusks gleaming in the sun.
Esteemed
Soldiers,
assembly,
clad in
it is with
polished
great
armor,
pleasure that we
lined
gather today
thoroughfares in
to
formation,
bestow honor
their
upon
spears
the deserving.
reflecting the king's immense power. The king stepped forward proudly, his regal robes flowing, his crown catching the light, anticipating a worthy reception. He expected the Buddha to acknowledge him with bowing or elaborate ceremony, customary for kings meeting divine teachers. The king prepared for a grand
must the
exchange,
sun set, mother?
a public display of mutual
rest,
honor and
little one,
respect,
so it may rise
as was the
again.
custom. When the Buddha arrived, he came without fanfare, pomp, or acknowledging the king's elaborate display. He walked calmly through the immense crowd, gaze lowered, steps quiet, a stark contrast to royal fanfare. He barely registered the display, moving with inner peace transcending external show, profoundly serene. No trace of fear or pride in his eyes, no awe before worldly power. His presence was unperturbed. He radiated profound, peaceful humility, absorbing grandiosity into its quiet depth, and seeking of elevation. He simply was, a silent embodiment of serene acceptance, a profound and unexpected spectacle for all.
Who understood the
The
language
king,
of the stars.
surprised and amazed by the unexpected response, approached the Buddha, his expectations overturned. His commanding
will be
voice,
all right, little
now
one.
bewildered,
Have
asked,
faith in yourself,
Lord,
just
revered
as I
across
have
worlds,
faith in you.
why such simplicity,
fear the path
like a
ahead.
beginner monk?
You carry
The
the
Buddha
legacy of our
slowly lifted
ancestors.
his eyes,
and you
meeting
will
the
succeed.
king's gaze with profound, gentle compassion, piercing his being. His soft voice, immensely authoritative, quieted the air. Great king, pride is the heaviest burden. It weighs down the spirit, obscures true vision, and shackles the heart to worldly attachments. He continued, I walk lightly, great king, because I carry none of that burden. I have relinquished the weight of ego, worldly status, and personal claim to greatness. My liberation lies in this emptiness,
My understanding of the
this
Dharma
freedom
is
from
complete.
self-importance.
I have seen
the
the
king
truth
deeply
and
bowed.
realized the unsurpassed
Among
state.
monks, a young
How could
bhikkhu
you do
attained
this to
scholarly
me?
understanding of
After
scriptures,
everything you
believing
betrayed your
intellectual
own
prowess
blood.
paramount. He memorized countless sutras, mastered arguments, filled with unchecked pride, setting him apart from humble brethren. He walked with chest high, judging others, convinced his scriptural knowledge made him
You
superior
are
to all
safe
monks.
with me.
This self-assured belief
No harm will
manifested
come
in
to you,
every
my
gesture,
child.
fostering intellectual superiority, creating distance, not harmony. Unable to contain his pride, he approached the Buddha, his voice boastful, confident in his declaration. Lord, he proclaimed, chest expanding, no one understands the Dharma as clearly or flawlessly as I do. The Buddha listened patiently, his expression tender, compassionate, and entirely devoid of judgment.
Do not seek the fleeting praise
After
of
a
man,
moment,
my student.
he looked at
Seek
the
only the
bhikkhu,
pure
my
truth,
child.
for that is
If
where
a cup is
liberation
full of
lies.
pride, how then can any new wisdom, any further understanding, possibly enter? The monk paused, brow furrowed, unsettled by the Buddha's metaphorical question, expecting commendation. Observing his puzzlement, the Buddha continued, knowledge, untempered by humility, leads to arrogance. The Buddha offered a contrasting truth. Humility acts as the true gateway to genuine understanding. It is the empty vessel that can be filled, not the one already overflowing with self-importance. The monk stood silently, beginning to grasp the profound implication of these simple teachings. The Buddha solidified his lesson: a truly wise man seeks pure truth, not fleeting praise. As words settled, The monk bowed his head in surrender. Tears of realization formed in his eyes. His hard-won pride dissolved like salt in water, leaving him empty and receptive. One serene afternoon, the Buddha on his alms round met a poor woman. Her circumstances a stark contrast.
Or your past,
Her
but by the
apologetic
purity of your
presence
heart.
spoke volumes of a
Release
life
this
on the
burden.
margins, enduring a daily struggle for survival. Her patched, worn clothes hung loosely,
This
testament
small
to
lamp,
years of
offered
poverty.
from the depths of her
Calloused
devotion,
hands trembled
outshines the
slightly.
generosity of kings.
She clutched a
It is
humble
truly
bowl of rice
immeasurable.
gruel, meager but her sole sustenance. Wishing to share it, overcome with embarrassment, she whispered, "Lord, my meager offering is utterly unworthy of your greatness. It is barely enough for myself. Please accept a more substantial gift from someone richer." Without hesitation, astonishing onlookers, the Buddha sat down beside her on the dusty ground. His warm, gentle smile, eyes radiating compassion, instantly made her feel at ease, bridging social chasm. His soft, clear voice brought comfort. "Good woman, understand this profound truth about offering. An offering given with genuine humility and a pure heart carries immeasurable value, not material abundance. Such a heartfelt offering, however humble, is worth more than vast fortunes or glittering gold." He tenderly accepted her simple rule, treating it with reverence and gratitude, like a royal feast. The woman, anticipating rejection, was overcome by profound acceptance and burst into tears. She felt deeply seen, profoundly honored, affirmed for her heart's purity, a liberation for her spirit. During an intense rainy season retreat, a monk in a remote forest hut fell severely ill. His fever raged, body weakened, unable to perform tasks, succumbing to despair, far from communal awareness. Weak and immobile in his hut, every movement was a struggle, his arms boldly stained. His monastic robes became soiled, bedding squalid. Other monks, engrossed in meditation, overlooked his plight. When the Buddha learned of the ailing monk's plight, he did not delegate care. Instead, without hesitation, he purposefully went directly to the sick monk's humble hut. True practice extended beyond meditation into active, selfless service, embodying his teachings without exception. Entering the hut, the Buddha found the monk in a pitiable state. He immediately set about the work. He knelt down, took the monk's soiled robe, and began washing it meticulously with his own hands. He cleaned the monk's bedding, aired it to dry, replaced with fresh linens, and washed the alms bowl. He sat by the monk, tenderly feeding medicine and offering soothing words of comfort and encouragement. Each action, performed with utmost care and compassion, demonstrated deep personal commitment to well-being. Other monks, returning from practices, discovered the Buddha engaged in menial, compassionate labor. Their reverence turned to shame and awe. "Lord, why do you undertake such tasks yourself? You are the Buddha, the most exalted being. Please, let us, your disciples, serve you." The Buddha looked at them calmly, conveying profound wisdom and unwavering resolve. Without scolding, "Monks," he explained, "he who desires to attend to me, should attend to the sick and suffering among us. For one whose heart is imbued with humility understands that selfless service is the highest devotion. One who possesses profound humility serves all beings without distinction, caring for them as Buddhas in disguise." These words
See how the
profoundly
dust settles
transformed the
when the wind
Sangha,
ceases.
instilling
heart,
deeper
too, can
understanding
find
of
such stillness
compassionate
if you
action
but
and
allow it.
mutual responsibility.
Tell me,
A wealthy,
if this gift is not
influential
accepted,
merchant in
where
Rajagaha
does it
harbored
reside?
growing resentment towards the Buddha's influence. He saw the Buddha as a rival, a threat, feeling his own status subtly overshadowed by
your
him.
anger and these
One
insults are
morning,
your gift to me.
unable to contain
I choose not
animosity,
to accept them.
the merchant decided to publicly confront the Buddha. He shouted, his face contorted, "You have no right to teach. Your teachings are worthless."
O great sage,
Monks bristled
wherein
with
lies
anger,
the path
their
to
calm
liberation?
shattered by the merchant's disrespectful outburst. Some stepped forward, ready to defend their teacher, protecting the Buddha's honor and dignity. Amidst the rising tension, the Buddha remained completely still, radiating unshakable serenity.
We struggle daily.
His breath
enlightened
maintained a
one.
steady rhythm,
How do we find
untouched by
peace?
venomous words,
Peace is
like an
not found.
unmoved
Do not
mountain.
merely believe what you are taught.
The merchant,
Inquire for
seeing no
yourselves.
reaction,
Be a lamp
grew
unto yourselves
frustrated,
and find the path
demanding
through
a
diligence.
response from the serene Buddha. "Why do you not respond? Are you too proud? Or do you admit my words? Why silence?" The Buddha broke silence, his voice gentle, clear, cutting tension, redirecting with a profound question. If a man offers a gift, and it is not accepted, to
The
whom
true
does it
kingdom is not
ultimately
found in
belong?
these stones,
Taken
but within
aback,
your own
the
heart,
merchant
little one.
frowned, then confidently replied, "To the giver, of course." The Buddha nodded, "Your anger and insults are your gift. I do not accept it. Therefore, it remains entirely with you." The merchant stood stunned, his arrogance dissolving. Throughout his life, regardless of who approached him, the Buddha maintained the same
Humility.
gentle, unwavering presence. He radiated quiet calm, kindness, and
find the path to
unshakable
liberation, my
humility,
child, you
making
must look
every
inward.
individual feel
It is the
equally seen
intrinsic
and
qualities
valued.
of compassion and wisdom
He
that will
lived a
guide you.
life of ultimate simplicity, embodying his principles, eating only what his alms bowl received. He slept
Venerable
wherever he
one,
found
my
shelter,
spirit is ready.
rejecting
I must
luxury,
learn the path.
treating
Will
everyone
you
with
teach me the
boundless,
way of the
equal
Dharma?
compassion. He never suggested superiority, never demanded worship, always encouraging self-reliance and inquiry. He never placed himself higher, seeing
From the
inherent
darkness,
Buddhahood
a
in
new
all,
light
his
dawns.
vast wisdom.
Every journey
his
begins
ego
with a
vanished.
single step.
His
just as every
awakening's
teaching
profound
rests
miracle,
on a foundation
boundless
stone like
greatness
this one.
achieved without slightest personal pride. He embodied infinite wisdom without arrogance, wielding immense spiritual power without desire for control. His humility became a living testament, teaching more about
Embrace
enlightenment
boundless
than
love,
any spoken
free
words.
from all prejudice.
One
Live
evening,
simply,
under
and find true
darkening
serenity
stars,
in the
a
present
young
moment.
monk approached the Buddha with a profound question. He sought an undeniable sign of true spiritual realization. Lord, what is the most unmistakable sign? The Buddha looked at the monk, eyes reflecting moon and world, encompassing all understanding. He paused, then whispered softly, humility, not outward deference, but deep humility that bows the heart. He elaborated, the awakened one seeks no personal praise. Their validation comes from within. They claim no worldly victory, fear no defeat, having transcended the illusion of loss and transience. They are like earth, unperturbed, supporting all beings without preference. The monk bowed, tears rising.
I am ready
As centuries
to commit to the
unfolded,
path, Master.
the world witnessed countless
Please, accept me
transformations.
as your student.
Empire rose and crumbled.
The truest form of love
Powerful
knows no
kingdoms
boundaries.
flourished,
It
faded
resides
into
within us
history.
all,
New
waiting
religions
to be
emerged.
shared with the world.
Ancient traditions waned and transformed. Through epochs of change, the Buddha's profound humility remained, an enduring beacon of light. His timeless teachings lived on, nurtured by compassion, enduring through boundless humility, echoing across generations. In his quiet footsteps, simple life,
I want to
the
follow
world
you.
learned,
Please
awakened
let
ones
me join
stand
the
taller
Sangha.
by bowing lower.
I know my
The
path
truly
is
wise
with you.
speak softly.
The crown and the
Choose
gold
mindful
offer only
words,
fleeting comfort, little
life
one.
simply,
But the path
and
of
love
wisdom,
boundlessly,
truth, and freedom will
without
set your
prejudice.
spirit free.
The truly humble,
I am
through
ready.
selfless existence, lift the entire world without needing acknowledgement.